All right. What's happening, everybody? Happy Thursday, and welcome to week 5. We've got 49ers Rams tonight in LA. It's probably going to be mostly a 49ers crowd there in SoFi. Uh, that being said, they're going to be facing or watching a very banged up 49ers team. Um, so we'll talk about that. We'll talk about the latest injury updates that we have from around the league. I will give some brief thoughts on the players going tonight, the obvious starts, the potential starts, the sits, the streams, all that good stuff. And then of course, taking any questions that you guys have. So, we've only got about 2 hours to kick off. I'll jump right into the latest updates that we have, then my thoughts on Thursday Night Football, then questions. Quite a bit to talk about. Let's see. Lamar Jackson not practicing. That's not unexpected. He's unlikely to play Week 5. Could be looking at a multi-week absence for Lamar. Taysom Hill, Foster Moreau, the Saints tight ends are getting healthy. Limited in practice Wednesday. They're not going to really likely have much of an impact this week. They could be cutting into Juwan Johnson's opportunities eventually. Probably not this week, but certainly eventually. Calvin Ridley has not practiced for 2 straight days, dealing with both knee and elbow issues. He is not looking good for this Sunday against the Arizona Cardinals. The Titans will be sorely depleted in the receiving department. I don't know that. Well, actually, when I say sorely, I'm not sure how truthful that is, because Ridley has been quite underwhelming this year. But Alec Ayamanar looking like quite a good stream just from a volume perspective for this week. Let's see. Dallas Goedert did not practice on Wednesday, but I believe he returned to practice today. Let's see. Limited in practice on Thursday. So Dallas Goedert is practicing. That's a good sign for his availability for Sunday. What else are we doing here? Bucky Irving has not practiced for 2 straight days. He was in a walking boot. Talked about this quite a bit on the Tuesday stream. He will not, in all likelihood, play this week. Todd Bowles said that Bucky would have to shed the walking boot by Friday in order to play on Sunday. No practices for back-to-back days for Bucky, so it's not looking good for him. If that's the case, Rachaad White is a guy that for me becomes maybe not an obvious start, but we want to find a way to get him into our lineup the same way we would Bucky. If you recall, there was a game late last year. I believe it was like week 14 or 15 of the season. Bucky Irving did not play. Rachaad White received the bulk of opportunities. I would expect that to happen in the event that Bucky does not play. So if you have Rachaad White, get ready to find a way to fire him up into your lineup. Deebo Samuel was initially reported as participating in practice on Thursday, but that was updated to not practicing today. So the Commanders did get good news yesterday on Jaden Daniels. He returned to practice and is looking likely to make his return after a 2-week absence in Week 5 for Washington. However, he is going to be down multiple options. Terry McLaurin has already been ruled out, and it's now looking like Deebo Samuel may not be able to go as well. Michael Carter and Amari Demercado, quote unquote, according to Theo Mackey, who is the Cardinals beat reporter for AZ Sports, quote, traded off going first in individual drills Thursday, unquote. So this is going to be a bit of a tandem situation, as it turns out. Arizona's playing the Tennessee Titans again. There's probably not going to be much of a need for either one of those guys to go absolutely nuclear. The Titans are a very beatable team right now. Therefore, I do not know necessarily that Arizona will be playing with any type of deficit for very long in this game, if at all. That makes Demercado a little bit more volatile this week if you were potentially looking at leaning on him this week. I do think he was still the more worthy pickup over Michael Carter just because of the pass-catching opportunities, if last Thursday night's game against the Seattle Seahawks was any indication. However, this may not be the best week to use him, and I don't know that I necessarily want to plug Carter in there either. both are desperation plays at the running back position. Chuba Hubbard is not practicing for the second straight day this week and is now looking iffy at best to play against the Miami Dolphins. Go check and see if Rico Dowdle is available on your wire. He is worth picking up. He may even be worth flexing if Chuba can't go. They're playing, a very appealing matchup against the Miami Dolphins. I just mentioned that Foster Moreau and Taysom Hill return to practice for the Saints. That, it's a little bit more noteworthy that Juwan Johnson is limited in practice today with an ankle injury. Again, Juwan figures to take care of the yeoman's share of opportunities for the Saints at tight end for at least this week, but if either one of Foster Moreau or Taysom Hill returns sooner than later, that's going to potentially cut into Juwan Johnson opportunities and snaps. So, the run of tight end one performances consistently maybe wrapping up for Juwan Johnson here sooner than later. We will see. Tyjae Spears limited in practice on Thursday as he works his way back from the high ankle sprain that he suffered in the preseason. He's on the stash radar, potentially, the wait list, depending on how shallow or deep your league is, if he's still available to pick up. Hopefully you have an IR spot where you can continue to stash him. Kevontae Turbin doesn't practice for a second straight day Thursday for the Dallas Cowboys. That's significant just because we already know CeeDee Lamb is trending toward not playing for a second straight week. George Pickens could be looking at as large of a role and target share that he can handle against the New York Jets. And then for the Eagles, Lane Johnson fully practiced today. Once again, that is always a good sign for the Eagles offense, even though the Eagles have not been good on offense this year. They haven't been consistent on offense this year. But if they want to have any chance of righting that ship, it would certainly help to have their standout right tackle, who missed or exited the game early for the second straight week last week. A full practice on Thursday, though, is a good sign. Joe Alt for the LA Chargers, already ruled out. So the Chargers offense as a whole is going to have to navigate that. Again, offensive line play, obviously significant, obviously is kind of that's the engine that allows the offense to hum as smoothly as it possibly can. They're going to have to look elsewhere for ways to replace their starting left tackle. I think that's everything that I have for injuries this week. That's everything. Okay, those are the injury updates. Let me quickly give my thoughts on tonight's game, and then we will go into questions. Did something happen to the stream? Please tell me nothing happened to the stream. Why does it say past tense? Give me 1 second, everybody. Just double checking, making sure this is okay. Just making sure this is all right. Just making sure this is okay. Okay, I think we're all right. I had a notification that it made it potentially shut down, so I'm like, please do not do this to me again. Do not do this to me again. All right, sorry about that. Just making sure I'm all right. Okay, quick thoughts on tonight for the LA Rams. The no-brainers, of course. Puka's in your starting lineup. Devontae Adams is in your starting lineup. Kyren Williams is in your starting lineup. That's pretty straightforward. Stafford is on the streaming radar. 375 and 3 last week against the Indianapolis Colts. He gets a banged-up San Francisco 49ers defense this week that is without Nick Bosa for the rest of the year, and they're sorely banged up on offense. If the Rams defense can capitalize on perhaps Some poor play from Mac Jones. Not saying that that's guaranteed over the course of the entire game, but he is a backup quarterback. If they can force a turnover or get a short field, that could help Stafford out as well. Just, potential increase for an easier score on a short field. So he's on the streaming radar in one quarterback leagues and obviously certainly in Superflex formats. And Blake Corum is a stash. We're not firing him up even in the deepest of leagues. On the 49ers side, obviously it's not as clear-cut. Brock Purdy is out. Ricky Pearsall is out. Jawan Jennings is out. George Kittle is still not back yet. He's still on injured reserve for one more week. So it is, it is a skeleton crew of options that the 49ers have. Mac Jones will draw the start tonight. You are not playing him anywhere. And ideally, you're not even playing him in Superflex leagues. Christian McCaffrey is the only guy that we really can have any confidence in whatsoever in this game. He's going to handle as many opportunities as he possibly can. We could be looking at a 30-touch game tonight for McCaffrey, 25 to 30 opportunities for McCaffrey if they want to have any chance of beating the Rams. Well, I only say any chance because that's how banged up they are. Not really, Kendrick Bourne, Demarcus Robinson, Marquez Valdez-Scantling, I think, is on the 49ers. Sky Moore is on the 49ers. Is he on the team or the practice squad? It doesn't matter. I mean, unless you play in a 20-team league or a super deep dynasty league and you're down to bare bones because of injuries, you're not playing any one of these guys. Jake Tongas, I think that's how you say his last name. Forgive me. Pretty sure that's, I know he's been playing for a few weeks, but he's been mostly not on the radar for fantasy. I mean, he could be a desperation tight end option. There's no way I can rank him as higher than the tight end 15 on the week, even with all of the injuries. So again, hopefully you have everybody benched for San Francisco other than McCaffrey. And that pretty much covers it. Puka, Devontae Adams, Kyron Williams, Christian McCaffrey are all in your starting lineup. Stafford is on the streaming radar and a clear option in Superflex formats, and that's pretty much it. That's pretty much it as it pertains to this game. Okay. Let's get into your questions. Let's see. I see, so I'm going to shout out the members. I see Bobby. What's going on? I see Greg. I see Evan. I have a super from Kevin. Much appreciated. Thank you so much. And that's everybody that I see as far as members and supers so far. But appreciate everybody coming in and hanging out tonight before Rams 49ers. Quickly go over my spiel, and then we'll get into it. Regardless of when I receive member questions, they will be answered in priority order. That is a perk of being a member of the channel. If you send a super, like Kevin felt generous enough to do, much appreciated. That will also be a line jumper and a way to get your question answered out of order. If you are not a member and you do not send a super, I will still answer your questions, but I do ask for some patience as I work through those first. Whether you are a member or not, I just ask that if you are enjoying the stream and the conversation, that you like the stream. That helps me out for algorithm purposes. Let's go ahead and get right into it. So, struggling with some options for your start sit or for your lineup this week. We need a receiver and a flex between McMillan, Sutton, Pittman, Devontae Smith. So, Pittman was one that I missed, actually, now that I'm thinking about it, from injury updates from today. Pittman was added to the injury report. For anybody who has Michael Pittman, he was added to the injury report for the Indianapolis Colts today with a hamstring injury. I think it was a limited practice participant for Pittman. He was not on the injury report yesterday. Midweek adds to the injury report always suck. As of right now, there's no way I can suggest Pittman. Tet gets the Miami Dolphins. Beautiful matchup. Sutton gets the Philadelphia Eagles, and we'll see Quinyon Mitchell. That's a brutal matchup. Devontae Smith should avoid Patrick Surtain this week. Sutton and Devontae, same game. Eagles and Broncos are playing each other. I would think Patrick Surtain is on A.J. Brown, despite A.J. Brown's struggles so far this year. I would think Surtain shadows A.J. Brown. He could see Devontae Smith here and there, but generally Devontae should avoid Patrick Surtain. Again, that should be the A.J. Brown assignment for him. So I'm going to go T-Mac based on the great matchup, and I'm going to go Devontae Smith, and I know it's a bit of a swing for the fences because Sutton has been objectively the better receiver this year, and he's his team's wide receiver one, so you expect that wide receiver one target share. But keep in mind, the Broncos played the late Monday night game this past week, and now they have a short weekend going on the road against the Philadelphia Eagles. Sutton has a tough matchup against Quinyon Mitchell, who just shut down the Bucs receivers when Baker threw his way in the last matchup last week. It's a bit of a going out on a limb to suggest Devontae Smith over Courtland Sutton, but I'm going to do it. McMillan for the great matchup. Devontae, because he's the one who avoids Patrick Surtain. The Eagles are at home. For all of the issues that they've had with their passing game, I tend to believe that we could come out and see, maybe a little bit of course correction for that this week. And the last time they played at home, Devontae had 8 for 60 and a score. So give me Sutton, give me Devontae Smith give me T-Mac, give me Devontae Smith from those options. And then I'm not, and then as far as who to drop, first of all, I don't want to drop any one of these guys, Bobby, but we don't have to worry about this question right now, respectfully. Mike Evans isn't going to play this week. I think he's already been ruled out. We'll cross this bridge when we absolutely have to. When we absolutely have to release somebody and add Mike Evans back onto our, active lineup and out of injured reserve. You don't have to worry about doing that this week, so I'm not necessarily worried about making this choice yet. Let's see how things play out this week. Let's see how things play out next week. There's no decision immediately that needs to be made right now here. So you're good. You're good to, if you have an injured player safely on IR and you're not, bursting at the seams to get healthy players on your active roster, there's no imminent need to do anything, If an injury pops up, then maybe it becomes more clear next week. But we can keep things as is. You don't have to drop anybody right now. Let's let this week's slate of games play out, and we'll go from there. We'll take this one day at a time. We'll see. We'll see. We'll see what happens. But don't worry about doing anything right now. Let's see. Happy Thursday to Greg. What's going on, Evan? I will get to you guys shortly, but I do see a super from Kevin. Again, much appreciated. Thank you for the support. This is a trade question, and it's a dynasty question, I believe. I think I saw it. Yeah, it's a dynasty question. Give your Rashee Rice, Jalen Noel, and Ja'Cory Krosky Merritt to get Ladd and Jacobs. So the first question that I have with Dynasty, and I assume that the answer is yes, but are you a contender, right? Because when you're acquiring an older running back like Jacobs, you're doing it for one reason. You are contending. You expect to compete for the championship this year. You're not acquiring an older running back in a rebuilding situation. So I assume you are a contender. You're looking to compete this year, and you're looking to put your team over the hump. Obviously, Ja'Cory Krosky Merritt and Jalen Noel are kind of, at this point in their careers, are ancillary depth pieces that we are hoping emerge down the road. And that could even mean, especially in the case of Noel, like 2026, maybe even 2027. The chances that he helps you this year are pretty low. Ja'Cory Krosky Merritt has a better opportunity to help you. Obviously, he hasn't emerged yet, but it is still early. I'm not necessarily pulling the plug on Ja'Cory Krosky Merritt yet, but of course, he's in a timeshare right now with Chris Rodriguez and Jeremy McNichols, so right now, he feels like a guy where it's like, I can't rely on this dude, but I don't know that that'll necessarily stay that way for the entire season. I don't think they would have traded Brian Robinson away if they didn't feel strongly about Ja'Cory Krosky Merritt. Obviously, the Austin Eckler injury was unfortunate for not just the player, but the team in general, and it forced them to kind of go this route of, we have to have Chris Rodriguez active on game day because maybe Ja'Cory Krosky Merritt isn't quite ready yet to shoulder the load. He is a 7th-round pick after all. We got to keep expectations in check for his first month plus. In the NFL. All that to say, Jacobs is obviously a massive, massive boost over that combination of those two guys. And then it's kind of like, okay, Rashee Rice versus Ladd McConkey. Who would I rather have, not just for this season, but for the long haul? I do think Rashee Rice comes back and is an immediate contributor and at least a wide receiver too. Obviously, Ladd is not that right now, but I've been preaching, and I'm going to continue to do so until I'm given a real explicit reason not to. I'm going to keep preaching to trust the process with Ladd McConkey because I don't think he's like any less talented. I don't think he stinks. I just think Quentin Johnston got a lot better, and Keenan Allen is still a damn good football player. There's just a little less opportunity to go around this year than there was last year when Ladd was kind of had to be force-fed targets because they didn't have Keenan Allen, and Quentin Johnston was still an inconsistent player last year. And their other ancillary weapons were not getting it done on a consistent basis. Ladd still rocks, so I'm not giving up hope. But obviously, it's a little tough to trust him right now. I do think this is a get right spot for him this week against Washington. FYI, I think I'm okay with this trade. All that to say, I do quite like Rashee Rice. I think he's going to be an immediate impact player in a couple of weeks when he returns. I'm talking like top 20, maybe top 25 flex option after he's gotten his feet wet and, gotten reacclimated and shakes off the rust from the 6-game suspension. I think he's going to be really, really good. For anybody who is looking for wide receiver help, go check and see what the status is on Rashee Rice in your league, especially if the person who has Rashee Rice doesn't have a good record right now and is desperate for an active body. I definitely like Rice as a trade for candidate. However, you're getting Ladd for him. You're getting Jacobs for him. Noel and JCM are the throw-ins here who may help you this year. It's more likely they don't help you this year. I think I'm okay with this move because at the end of the day, championships are everything. You'll deal with the fact that, Noel might be something late down the line. Ja'Cory Krosky-Merritt might be something down the line, but I need to solidify my roster now, my active options now, the guys who can step in and help me, push for that top seed for a bye week, most points scored, whatever tiebreakers are needed to get one of those top spots in the playoffs. I'm okay with this trade, obviously with the caveat that in Dynasty, Jacobs may only have a couple seasons left, but he is in a great situation. He's in a great situation this year and next year. You obviously just hope that he maintains that level of excellence. That's what we can call Josh Jacobs. That he's a great running back, probably a top 8, 7 or 8 option rest of the way. I'm okay with this move. I'm okay with essentially giving up Rice for a buy low on Ladd and a stud running back to help solidify your situation. And yes, it's a good call out that Jacobs is on bye this week, but it's Dynasty. So you're not trading for Jacobs for just this season. You're trading him for 2026, 2027 as well, obviously in the hopes that he's going to, maintain a high level of play for a couple of years. And then in which case we'll deal with the week 5 bye this week. Because on the other side, Rashee Rice isn't helping you this week either, he's suspended still. So it's a short-term hit, but you're still getting Ladd McConkey, who does help you this week, as opposed to Rice, who doesn't. And then Jacobs has passed his bye, and you have him rest of the way. So I'm okay with the move. It's not a bad call out about the bye week, but this is a Dynasty contending squad. I would make this trade. I would make this move. Appreciate the super, Kevin. Let me know if you need anything else here. But thank you for the support. Rachaad White or Mac Jones in the Superflex spot, assuming that Bucky's not playing. And I think I'm pretty sure that's a fair assumption at this point that Bucky's not going to play. Obviously, we're in a bit of a squeeze right now because Mac goes in a couple of hours or about an hour and a half, and Rachaad White doesn't go until Sunday, and we won't get that definitive answer until tomorrow at the earliest as it pertains to Bucky's availability. Assuming Bucky is out, I do think I would play Rachaad White over Mac Jones. And again, I know it's like I'm almost breaking my own rule again, right? Play quarterbacks in Superflex. But it's a short week. Mac Jones doesn't have Ricky Pearsall. He doesn't have George Kittle. He doesn't have Jawan Jennings. Yes, he has Christian McCaffrey, and that alone is enough to boost his floor. But, you know, on a short week and you're throwing the ball to Kendrick Bourne and MVS and Sky Moore and Demarcus Robinson, that's a tough sell. Whereas Rachaad White is going to get, in all likelihood, the lion's share of opportunities for the Bucs with Bucky Irving sidelined. I know it feels gross. And again, I really prefer to play quarterbacks in Superflex, but this is an icky situation for Mac Jones, whereas Rachaad White looks primed for at least this week to lead the Bucs backfield. And if it's full PPR, that's even more reason for me to say, yeah, let's play Rachaad White. Even half PPR, I think I would say go Rachaad White. If it's standard scoring, Evan, okay, fine, maybe go with the quarterback and just hope for the best, hope that he can throw for a touchdown and run around a little bit. But half or certainly full PPR, I think I would go Rachaad White. I think I would. It's a bad situation for Mac Jones tonight. And the Rams have a solid defense. You know. Yeah. All right, to Greg. You picked up Bryce Young. Looks like the Baltimore the Baltimore injury list is a long one. It's like a CVS receipt right now. I don't feel any stronger about CJ Stroud though. He hasn't been good for fantasy, not just for this year, but in general for a while. I have very little faith in CJ Stroud, even in a good matchup right now. He's not playing well. The offensive line in front of him is not good. That those concerns are alleviated a little bit in this matchup. Again, Baltimore's defense. This is not our dad's Baltimore Ravens defense that were year in, year out elite and shut down, especially at home. This is a bad Ravens defense, and they're banged up and injured to boot. So maybe the Texans' offensive line does a little bit better in this matchup. I still don't trust C.J. Stroud. I don't. I would rather play Bryce Young. And if they don't have Chuba Hubbard, maybe they have to air it out a little bit more. So I would stick with Bryce Young. And then, Bobby, the fact that you have Tet does make a difference. I would play Bryce Young. It's a great matchup against Miami. Build that stack. Tet is off to a really strong start to his NFL career. I don't think he didn't have a great game last week, but the Panthers as a whole got absolutely blasted by the Patriots. So, nobody really did well. But they're home now. They get a home game against a beatable Miami Dolphins defense. The Miami Dolphins are playing on a short week. They played on Monday night last week. Now they got to travel, right? They got to travel to Carolina. Boy, there's a lot of teams on Monday night this year who then on the following week have to go on the road, like short week and then travel on the road. That's tough. It's not impossible, but that doesn't make things easier. I will take Bryce Young. And the fact that you have Tet, I think, is what tips the scales for me because you can stack it up in a great matchup. I would play Bryce Young while Jordan Love is on bye. Yep, I would play Bryce. Darnold is playing well. To be fair, I don't want to poo-poo Sam Darnold. He is playing. He's playing way better than I think a lot of people, myself included, would have expected. He left Minnesota. He left Kevin O'Connell, that cushy situation, great coach, great quarterback guru, to go to Seattle. No longer playing in a dome in home games. Now he's playing outside. I was like, Darnold, he might kind of turn into a pumpkin again in Seattle. Through 4 weeks, that hasn't been the case. Darnold has been good, so I don't want to make it sound like Darnold's been bad, but I like Bryce Young against the Miami Dolphins. It's a solid matchup at home, and you have Tet McMillan. That's enough for me to say, yeah, go Bryce. And then no, I'm not taking Mac Jones over Bryce Young. Again, short week on the road. The 49ers are banged up in a pretty bad way right now. I'd rather not play Mac Jones. Outside of Superflex formats where you've got Brock Purdy and you've got Lamar Jackson and you've got J.J. McCarthy and your other options are all hurt. That's the only scenario where I'm playing Mac Jones. Superflex where all my quarterbacks are hurt. Okay. I see everybody's questions. Appreciate everybody's patience, but I got to keep it moving to my members. What's going on, Nino? Let's see. You don't want Chase Brown killing you in 2 leagues. That's fair. Chase Brown is impossible to trust right now. I can't play Michael Carter over him. I mean, because here's what it comes down to. I'm pretty sure that no matter what, Chase Brown is still going to get the bulk of opportunities for Cincinnati, even though it's a gross situation. Michael Carter, maybe. I mean, it's a great matchup. The Tennessee Titans are a great matchup for opposing running backs. So Michael Carter could certainly be in play as a flex option. But, Amari DeMercado is there. I can't sit here and say that Bam Knight isn't going to get an opportunity here and there. Like, yes, Michael Carter might get 10 to 12 opportunities, and he might come through. And it's a good matchup, but he's sharing the backfield with DeMercado and maybe Bam Knight. We have no idea what this backfield looks like, sans Trey Benson, without Trey Benson. We don't know what the breakdown is going to look like. I think it's fair to assume that if Arizona's playing with a lead and they're running the ball, that Michael Carter will get some opportunities. That's a guess. We just don't know what this backfield is going to look like, what this breakdown looks like, what the snap counts are going to look like. We just don't know. We can assume maybe, Michael Carter's going to get 10 to 12 carries, maybe upwards of 15 carries if the Cardinals have a lead. We just don't know yet because we haven't seen it yet. I know Chase Brown is it's the worst feeling in the world right now to leave him in your lineup because he's giving you so little. But at least he's the dude that will be out there most of the time. Samaje Perine is not challenging Chase Brown for any more than a handful of opportunities. And when I say opportunities, I mean snaps and even fewer opportunities, really. I would go to Chase Brown one more time. Hopefully they throw him the ball out of the backfield. If he completely craters out, then sure. Next week, we can pivot off of, I can't believe I'm saying this, but this is fantasy football. We can pivot from Chase Brown to Michael Carter in week 6 if we see enough from Michael Carter and Chase Brown lays yet another egg. I can't do it quite yet until we see what the Cardinals' backfield looks like. All right. And one more question. Charbonnet, Ridley, Ja'Cory Krosky, Merritt. I think you got to go Charbonnet. Ridley is not practicing, and Ja'Cory Krosky, Merritt just hasn't, it hasn't happened yet. It just hasn't happened yet for Ja'Cory Krosky, Merritt. Like any 1 week could be the time that Washington goes to him. I don't know that against the LA Chargers is when I want to roll those dice. Charbonnet at home, right, against Tampa Bay and regularly involved, 10 days off because they played Thursday night last week. I would plan to go Charbonnet over Ja'Cory Krosky, Merritt. We haven't seen it quite yet from Bill. We haven't seen it yet. And Ridley's hurt, so he's not really an option. Got a super from Tyler. Appreciate it, Tyler. Thank you so much. Always very generous with the supers. Really appreciate it. Drop Mason or Dobbs for a defense. Because the Vikings are on. So this is for next week. You're planning for next week. So the problem I have with this is, one, Mason is a starting running back for this week, and I know it's not a good matchup against Cleveland. but he's still on the RB2 radar just because of volume. So I don't really want to drop Mason. I also don't really want to drop Dobbs. And he's not going to have a 3-touchdown game again in all likelihood like he did last week against the Cowboys. But Dobbs comes back from his bye after this week. So you'd be dropping somebody now you're going to be dropping somebody who can help you rest of the season, rest of the way, and could's a big word here, but Romeo Dobbs could be the Packers wide receiver 1 for like at least the next, 4, 6, 8 weeks? Jaden Reed's on IR and not coming back anytime soon. Matthew Golden started to, he showed a little bit Sunday night against Dallas, but he's still a rookie. Christian Watson's practice window might get open soon, but that means he's probably still another 3-4 weeks away. And then when he comes back, what even is he? Coming back from a late season injury that he suffered last year. I don't really want to drop either one of these guys yet. I appreciate planning in advance. You're trying to look ahead. You're trying to get yourself ready for next week. But we got to get through this week first, right? So, that means Mason definitely don't drop. And then Dobbs, I know he's on bye right now, so if you really, really need somebody, or if you really, really want to just set yourself up for next week, I guess it would be Dobbs would be the drop. But he's past his bye after this week, and you've got him rest of season. And he might be his team's wide receiver 1 at least in half of the games the Packers play from here on out. So I'm not like chomping at the bit to drop either one of these guys, especially Mason, who is a starting running back for his team for at least the next couple of weeks until we get some type of update on Aaron Jones. I'd rather not drop either one of these guys, Tyler. If you really want to make the move and you're just like, there's a defense out there and I really want to get them for next week, then I guess Dobbs would be my answer, but I'm not super enthusiastic about telling you to drop Dobbs, if that makes sense. Oh, a defense for this week. Okay, sorry. The Vikings defense is next. I thought you were talking about the Vikings defense. You're gonna play them this week, and then you need a defense for this week. If you need a defense for this week, then Dobbs is the drop. And if he's the last guy on your bench, and the rest of your guys are like, I'm not dropping these dudes, they're either too valuable or I believe in them too much, and I'm not dropping them, then Dobbs is the drop because he's not playing this week. Mason is. And Mason is Mason is startable. I know it's a bad matchup, it's a bad situation, but he is startable as the clear-cut top option for Minnesota. I know Xavier Scott got in there a good amount, specifically on the pass-catching opportunities last week, but Pittsburgh's a better team than Cleveland, and I don't expect the Vikings to fall or to trail Pittsburgh the way that they did last week against Cleveland this week. I would expect a more neutral game, and therefore Mason stays more involved. Dobbs would be the drop. Dobbs would be the drop here. Yeah. But do everything you can to get him back next week. And then whoever you have, or whoever the defensive options are, let me know if unless you have a clear-cut one that you wanna grab. Let me know what your options are, and I can take a look at it. But thank you again for the super, much appreciated. Mike joined up as a member, much appreciated, Mike. Good to see you, man. Thank you for the support. Let me know if you need anything. You really want to buy low on Ladd? That's not crazy. I still believe in Ladd, and I think this is a great week for him to get right. The Washington secondary is very beatable. I think that's perfectly fine. Ja'Cory Krosky-Merritt and Kittle for Ladd and McBride? Yeah, sure. I don't love the idea of sending away Tet, but you're trying to buy low on Ladd. Ja'Cory Krosky-Merritt hasn't blossomed yet. McBride, going from Kittle to McBride is an upgrade. I would want to know what the rest of your team looks like, Nino. I want to know what your other backs and receivers look like. You don't want to shed too much good depth, but I'm okay with this trade. I'm fine with the buy low on Ladd. He's going to be more inconsistent this year. I think that's pretty fair to say because Quentin Johnston has emerged and Keenan Allen is still that guy even at age 32, 33 years old. He's still playing at a high level. So Ladd's not going to have the week-to-week consistency that he had last year, but he's still a really good player. This is a great matchup. He's in a great offense. He's attached to a great quarterback. He's going to be fine. I firmly believe that Ladd is going to be fine. The ceiling might not be there. The 2024 ceiling might not be there, but I think better days are ahead for Ladd McConkey. I'm fine with buying low on him. I wouldn't necessarily call Tet a buy low, but or like a sell low. But Ja'Cory Krosky-Merritt hasn't really done much quite yet, and again, going from Kittle to McBride is a solid upgrade. So I'm okay with this. I would be okay with that offer. I would be okay with that offer. Yeah. I would be okay with that trade going through. Okay, and it was a defense for this week. Yeah, Tyler, let me know if there's anybody that you're looking at as far as picking up, and I can help out. Appreciate the additional supers. Not necessary, but much appreciated. Very kind of you. Let me quickly grab Bobby over here. You have Jacobs. Who's the most valuable? Demercado, Carter, Tucker, or Emmanuel Wilson? I mean, by nature of the beast, the handcuff is always the most valuable that you can have. In a vacuum, I would rather have Demercado, but because you have Josh Jacobs, that boosts a guy like Emmanuel Wilson for me. Obviously, you would be taking on another player who's on bye this week, but Emmanuel Wilson is more valuable to you than anybody else in the league because you have Josh Jacobs. And if anything happens to Josh Jacobs, you're going to be happy if you have Emmanuel Wilson stashed. That's the sole reason that you get him, is because you have the starter. So you get the backup so that if anything happens, you're protected. You have that insurance policy that you went ahead and took out. In a vacuum, Demercado. But I'll say in your specific situation, because you have Jacobs, then it's Emmanuel Wilson. The handcuff is always the most valuable asset that you can go for. Yeah. And I got a super from Jose. Much appreciated. Ayamanor or Shaheed. Ayamanor goes against Arizona. Shaheed is in a matchup against the New York Giants. Ayamanor could benefit from no Calvin Ridley this week. That's looking likely. And Shaheed, who I think is the better player, gets the New York Giants. Is that a home game for the Saints? It is. It's a home game for the Saints. I would probably play Shaheed. I like Ayamanor. I do. He looks like a great, long-term asset, especially in dynasty leagues. He's going to have a big role this week. The problem is, what does that actually translate to? What does that look like? The Titans' offense is tough to trust right now. Not that the Saints are much better, but they're on the road. Down Calvin Ridley. That means that Arizona can actually key on Ayamanor, whereas with Shaheed, they can't necessarily key on him because Chris Olave is on the other side. I think I would go Shaheed. He's the more proven player. Yes, he's somewhat boom bust, but honestly, Ayamanor is right now as well as a rookie, catching the ball from a rookie on a bad, struggling offense. That's tough to trust right now. I like Ayamanor. He is a stash. He's a start in deeper leagues, but stash is most ideal. Shaheed is a veteran at this point. He's a big play guy. They're in the Dome. They're at home. There's nothing scary about the matchup against the Giants. Yes, the Giants have a solid defense. They have a solid front seven. But I'll take the big play upside of Shaheed at home instead of Ayamanor. I like them both, but I think I would prefer Shaheed, proven player. Ayamanor is emerging, but, he hasn't quite hit some level of consistency yet where I want to put him over a guy like Shaheed. And again, the Titans offense is the Saints offense is tough to trust right now. The Titans offense is even more difficult to trust, if that makes sense. I would go Shaheed. Okay, couple more member questions, and then I will go back up to the top. I appreciate everybody's patience as I work through the member questions. But again, that is a perk of being a member of the channel. You will get your questions responded to in priority order. Details about that can be found in the first link in the description of this live stream and all videos and streams on the channel. Okay, this is okay, so Achane, Brees, Swift, Ja'Cory Krosky, Merritt, and Charbonnet. And then Amon-Ra, awesome. Tet, Ridley. You're waiting on Rice. Ayuk is not really anything right now. And then you're waiting on Kittle until he comes back at tight end. If he wants Swift instead of Ja'Cory Krosky, Merritt, then you deserve to ask Nino for something else in return in the deal. Because you can tell him, like, look, you want Swift, that's fine, but he's gonna cost more as a starting running back, who a team's clear-cut starter, over Ja'Cory Krosky, Merritt, who is not his team's clear-cut starter, at least not right now. So you have the flexibility to say, I'm going to need a little bit more. If I'm giving you Swift in this trade, I need a little bit more. Or instead of Tet, offer I don't want you to offer Rice, and Ridley's not going to get it done. And two tight ends, Juwan and Kittle, in the trade aren't going to get it done. Yeah, I would ask for, if it has to be Tet, Swift, and Kittle, for Ladd and McBride, I would ask for one of his depth running backs in return. It can be a guy who's a tier or two lower than DeAndre Swift, whoever that may be on his roster, but I would ask for a depth running back in return. Hey, you want the upgraded running back in the trade? I'm the one who's taking on a bit more risk because Ladd McConkey hasn't really performed quite yet. So I'm the one, I'm rolling the dice on him. I believe in him, but I'm rolling the dice because he hasn't performed yet. Give me a depth running back in the deal to make it an even 3-for-3 swap, and we got a deal. That's what I would do. Go check and see who his depth running backs are. Take one of those, and then I would be still okay with this. And then, Bobby, I didn't realize Mike Evans is on waivers. If you were to drop anybody, if you're going to make a move now, Bobby, I don't want to drop Devontae Smith. I know he hasn't been great so far, but I just really don't want to drop him. Not for, this league does sound very volatile. I would almost, I don't want to drop Pittman either, Bobby, but he's at least on the injury report now with a hamstring injury. So, I guess that would be my suggestion on who to drop. Not that I feel super strongly about that. Whew, if that league would send my anxiety through the roof by the sound of it. All right. Back up to the top. Appreciate everybody's patience as I work through those member questions. Trade Woody and Juwan Johnson for Warren. Is that Tyler Warren? I assume it's Tyler Warren because you list Warren as one of your running backs, so I don't think you're trading for Jalen Warren. You have Gibbs, you have Jalen Warren, you have Scatabo, and you have R.J. Harvey. And then for good measure, you have Tootin. So you're looking to upgrade from Juwan to Tyler Warren, and Woody Marks is going to be the piece that makes that happen. I'm okay with that. I like Woody Marks quite a bit. I do. I think he's trending toward being Houston's RB1 for the rest of the way. But you have Gibbs, Jalen Warren coming out of his bye week after this week. You're going to have him rest of season. Scatabo appears to have emerged in a big way. Harvey exploded on Monday Night Football last night. We'll see if that continues and if his involvement continues to go up. My guess would be yes, as the team's second-round pick this year. And you go from Juwan Johnson, who his volatility could be going up, right? Taysom Hill, Foster Moreau both returned to practice this week, and Jawan Johnson himself is on the injury report with the ankle injury. You upgrade to a top 3 or 4 tight end rest of the way in Tyler Warren. That's at least what he looks like right now. Bowers, McBride, Kittle when he comes back, and then honestly, it's Tyler Warren. Who else would we put in that conversation right now? McBride, Bowers, even Bowers has been kind of meh with the knee injury. Kittle when he returns, and then, Warren looks awesome. Warren looks incredible. I guess Ferguson for a little while longer, but that may not last as long as CD or when CD comes back. So, yeah, I would be okay with that. Yeah, I'm okay with that trade. Start Pollard or Diggs in the flex. Pollard gets the Arizona Cardinals on the road. Diggs gets, and if you can help me out with the scoring, let me know. That helps ultimately, maybe make some decisions. If it's full PPR, I may say go Diggs. If it's half or standard, I may say go Pollard. Pollard gets Arizona on the road. Could see even more usage this week if Calvin Ridley can't go, and that could come in the form of a target or two, an extra target or two for Tony Pollard. Diggs gets the Buffalo Bills, so it is a revenge game. Of course, he got an opportunity to play Buffalo last year while he was a member of the Houston Texans before he got hurt. So, we're now a couple of years removed from him being a Buffalo Bill. But it's still a revenge game, and I like that narrative. I think I would say in PPR, I would go Diggs. And in half or standard scoring, I would go Pollard. So it kind of depends. Depends on the scoring. But I would go Diggs in full PPR, and I would go, and especially with the revenge game narrative. If it's standard scoring or even half PPR, I'm okay with the running back Pollard as the floor play. But that Diggs revenge narrative. Remember, Diggs' exit from Buffalo was ugly. And now he gets to go play there for the first time. It's kind of enticing, right? It's an intriguing, enticing situation. And Diggs looked good last week. He was on the field for the most snaps for a single game of the season so far, so he's ramping up, and he looked good. He got a 40% target share last week. That might not be sustainable, but the fact that he got the most snaps for a single game so far is a good sign. Ramping back up, maybe getting closer to 100%. And in this revenge game narrative, I kind of like Diggs. Okay, really quickly, Tyler, Tyler, very, very generous today. I really appreciate you, man. Thank you so much. But let me quickly get to this. You can drop Smith. Oh, for the defense. Not dropping Rome. Rome's the wide receiver 3 or 4 on the season right now, so there's no way we're dropping him. And I guess I prefer Rachaad White. I mean, of this group, I would drop Rome. Rome. Is that Romeo Doubs? Not Rome Odunze. Is that Romeo Doubs? I would drop Doubs. I don't want to drop running back depth. They're so valuable, even when it feels gross. Even if their situations are bad. Not that these guys' situations are bad, but running back depth is just so valuable. I don't want to drop running backs for a defense unless I have absolutely no other choice. Doubs is the drop here, and I don't love it, but he's the guy that I would drop to pick up a defense. I don't want to drop Devontae Smith. I don't want to drop Rachaad White because he's going to start this week, and I don't want to drop Jordan Mason because he has been started. Yeah, I'll say Doubs is the drop here to pick up a defense. Yeah. I don't love dropping Doubs, but that's clearly, for me anyway, that's clearly the route you should go. And Bobby, really quickly, it sounds like your roster spots are limited in this league and players get dropped up and down all the time. If Mike Evans is out there, I'm not worried about Tajay Spears right now. I would not. We can wait on him. Bobby, you need to talk to your commissioner at the end of the year and add some IR spots, some extra IR spots to your league. We need to get some extra IR spots in there. I commission I commission like 3 leagues. 2 of them are dynasty leagues, so it doesn't matter as much. But the one keeper league that I commission, I have 3 injured reserve spots. Players get they are so easily, they get banged up. They so easily get placed on injured reserve like these days than they did in previous years because of that 4-game designation to return. Teams are way more likely to be cautious with their players, and therefore injuries, being ruled out or being sidelined for a minimum of 4 games are more prevalent than they have ever been. A single IR spot, this is for everybody. I'm just on my soapbox, just screaming out to whoever wants to listen. 1 IR spot in a redraft league doesn't do it anymore. I don't think there's no way you can convince me that a single IR spot does it anymore. If you're the commish of your league, I would add at least 2 spots. And obviously not this year. This year's done. Don't change the rules mid-season. But after this year, if you have an IR spot, add a second one. Hell, add a third one. I have 3 injured reserve spots, and I can tell you at least half of my league is using all 3 of them. And they're not taking advantage. The suspended players aren't available on there. Doubtful players aren't available on there. You have to at least be ruled out for the game. And of course, if you're on IR for a minimum of 4 games, you're eligible to be on there as well. It's so much more prevalent that we see this compared to years past. And now, like, a single IR spot is not enough. Add more IR spots. Your league will thank you. Or your commish will thank you for the suggestion. That's for everybody. It's tough. It's hard. Like, we see more guys on IR currently than we ever have before. I've been playing fantasy football for like 20 years at this point, which is insane to say. No IR spots used to be normal, and then it turned into 1 IR, and then we never moved off of that. Add IR spots. That's for everybody. Thank you for coming to my TED Talk. Okay, where did I leave off? Waller or Ingram in the flex? I know Waller's on the injury report. I don't know what his status is. Let me take a quick look. Ingram has been very blah. Neither one of these guys is anything more than like a low end tight end 2. Which you may already be aware. And I know Waller caught the 2 touchdowns on Monday night against the Jets, and now he's got expanded opportunities because Tyreek Hill is out for the season. Waller was on the injury report. Oh, was he removed? No, he's still questionable. Limited in practice. Okay, he's just getting rest. I guess Waller. Ingram hasn't really done anything. At least Waller had a solid game on Monday night. Ingram, 3 catches for 21 yards week 1, 1 catch for 12 yards week 2, didn't play week 3, and then in a beautiful matchup against Cincinnati, he did get 7 targets. He turned it into 4 catches for 29 yards. I can't. And now Evan Ingram's got to go against Zach Bond in Philly. No thanks. I'll take Waller here between these 2 options. I'll take Waller. Okay, so everybody's favorite question: DeMercado or Michael Carter this week? The answer is they're both desperation plays, and I don't mean to make that. I'm not trying to be rude. It's just like, on one hand, it's a great matchup. The Titans are a good matchup for opposing running backs. The problem is, what does this backfield look like without Trey Benson? And obviously, it's already without James Conner. We just don't know yet. The report today, again, from the Arizona Sun beat reporter, or Arizona Central beat reporter, was that Michael Carter and Emari Demercado were splitting first team reps in practice today. It's anybody's guess what this backfield looks like. So I'm just going to have to go off of what I saw on Thursday night last week when Arizona played the Seattle Seahawks. Demercado got in there primarily on passing downs, pass catching opportunities, third down, etc., etc. So if it's a PPR league, I would roll the dice on Demercado. If it's a half PPR league, honestly, flip a coin. And if it's standard scoring, I'll take Michael Carter. I don't know that it's going to shake out that way. I don't. I don't know that anybody does. That's just our best guess based on what we saw last Thursday for Arizona against the Seattle Seahawks. DeMercado with a healthy Trey Benson, with an active Trey Benson, DeMercado was in there mixing in on passing downs and getting third down opportunities. So he's the guy that by default I'm more intrigued by. But if this is a game that Arizona is winning by 7 to 10 points in the second half and they're killing clock, then it might be Michael Carter. So it's a combination of game script and how you think, like your league scoring and how you think this game is going to go, the game script. If Arizona's leading, maybe it's Carter. If they're trailing, maybe it's DeMercado. Maybe it's neither, and Bam Knight surprises the entire world and gets in there. We have to see how this backfield shakes out before we make any definitive calls, but the best I can tell you is standard scoring, Carter, PPR, DeMercado. I guess by default, I would see DeMercado in half PPR as well. And then from there, it's just we'll see what happens, you know? We got to see how this backfield shakes out. You had Benson and had to pick them both up. Full PPR, I'll take my shot on DeMercado and hope for the best. I'll take my shot on DeMercado. And then pick one to flex between Keon Coleman, Iomanor, or Christian Kirk. So Keon Coleman against the Patriots, Iomanor against the Arizona Cardinals, and then and then Christian Kirk. I'm not even. I'll be honest. I have no idea what Christian Kirk has done since coming back from injury. I think I would take a shot on Keon Coleman here, just because this is all it comes down to for me. He's catching the ball from the best quarterback of this group. I don't trust Cam Ward on the road right now. I don't trust C.J. Stroud anywhere right now. I don't at home, on the road, on the moon. I don't trust C.J. Stroud. I know Keon Coleman has been pretty unspectacular since week 1, but it is a home game. And Josh Allen, again, is leaps and bounds better than Cam Ward and C.J. Stroud. I'll take the guy catching the ball from the best quarterback of this bunch. Give me Keon Coleman. Give me Keon Coleman. Monty or White in full PPR. Montgomery gets the Bengals. That's a beautiful matchup. But of course, obviously, he still splits with with Jahmyr Gibbs. Rachaad White should have the backfield to himself. Bucky Irving is not looking likely to play this week. I will take the bell cow over the complimentary back, and I don't mean that as a slight to David Montgomery. He is a damn good running back. Give me the dude who I expect to see all of the work or most of the work. I think that's Rachaad White. I'll take Rachaad White, especially in full PPR. Montgomery can catch the ball. Rachaad White is, for all of his efficiency issues, Rachaad White is one of the better pass-catching running backs in the league, just based on what we've seen the past couple of years. Give me Rachaad White. Let's see. Would I trade McCaffrey, Terry, and Bill for James Cook, Drake London, and Rashee Rice? Yeah, I think I would. I don't really want to trade Christian McCaffrey, but Drake London is an upgrade over Terry McLaurin, and Rashee Rice is an upgrade. The transition from Christian McCaffrey to James Cook, it's a slight downgrade, obviously, because while James Cook is off to a great start, Christian McCaffrey is still the better player. But going from McLaurin and Ja'Cory Krosky-Merritt to Drake London and Rashee Rice, that's a huge upgrade. Huge upgrade. Yeah, the gap between McCaffrey and James Cook is maybe this. The gap between London and Rashee Rice versus McLaurin and Ja'Cory Krosky-Merritt is this. So, yeah. Yes, I would do that deal. I don't love getting rid of McCaffrey, but the other pieces in this deal are enough for me to say, yeah, sure, go for it. Go for it. Absolutely, I would do that. I'm a massive proponent of going out there and seeing what it would cost for you to go get Rashee Rice, because he's now only 2 weeks away from returning. And there's a decent chance that the person who it's not a guarantee. Obviously, tip your hat to people who build good rosters. But if somebody's struggling because they spent a 6th or 7th round pick on Rashee Rice, who has given them nothing through the first month of the season, if they're 1-3 or 0-4 and they're struggling, they may ask for they may be willing to take a player who can help them now and panic sell Rashee Rice. I am all for everybody going and checking the temperature on Rashee Rice and what it would take to go get him. I think he's got wide receiver 2 appeal at least for the rest of the season once he comes back. So I'm good with this. And I wouldn't normally be okay with trading away Christian McCaffrey. But the package that you're getting looks good to me. Looks good to me. I'm with it. Do I think Bucky will be okay? I mean, he's in a walking boot right now. It's anybody's guess. This could be a 1-week absence. I don't know if he's built different and he'll surprise all of us and play this week. I don't think they've quite ruled him out yet. It's not looking good. I don't know if it's a multi-week absence. Again, he's in a walking boot and on crutches. That was the report from Greg Allman, who covers the team. He's one of the Tampa Bay beat reporters yesterday. He was in a walking boot and on crutches. That, on the surface, that sounds like a multi-week absence. I don't know how likely that is. So I hope he's okay, just for the sake of the game and for the sake of the player. We all love Bucky Irving. He's awesome. But, a walking boot is not a good sign, right? Maybe it's precautionary, but the fact that he was also on crutches lends me to, I have no choice but to believe anything other than it's not precautionary. It could be a multi-week absence. It could be a multi-week absence. And then Bobby, rest of season, maybe I have a little bit of recency bias, and I know Pittman has been solid this year, but he just picked up the hamstring injury. He would be my odd man out here. Assuming Evans comes back from the hamstring injury and he goes back to being Mike Evans. Obviously, that's not a guarantee as an older wide receiver. But Pittman would be my odd man out here. This is a great group of wide receivers. Jefferson, Tet, Sutton, Rice, Evans in theory, if he's coming back healthy. I don't want to give up on Devontae Smith. I know he's a baller. The Eagles' offense hasn't been great so far. It hasn't even been good thus far. But I know Devontae Smith is a good individual player. And I would say Pittman is your odd man out here. Second, I guess, I don't even really feel good about it, but if you need a second name here as far as odd man out, I guess it's Evans, just from the perspective of he's older, he's out right now, and he's got a hamstring injury. That's not usually a great combination. Evans is good enough to buck any trends of older players getting hurt, but obviously right now it's anybody's guess what he does coming back from whenever he is past that injury. Okay. Where did I leave off? Oh, it's Jalen. It's a Jalen. Okay, this trade is new now. Jalen Warren and Juwan Johnson for Tyler Warren. So your running backs after this would then be Gibbs, Scat, RJ, Woody. I don't feel as strongly about trading Jalen Warren as I do Woody Marks. I would have really loved for you to get the Woody and Juwan deal done instead of Warren and Johnson. I'm not feeling as strongly about that one. That being said, I do think Juwan Johnson's days of being a consistent guy where I'm like, yeah, he's a tight end one, they could be coming to an end. One, the Saints offense is going to be highly volatile at best rest of the way. Two, he himself has been kind of inconsistent over the course of his career, even though I do think he's a good player. And then three, potentially most importantly, The Saints' other tight ends are getting healthy. Taysom Hill and Foster Moreau both returned to practice this week. So that's going to cut into Juwan Johnson's snaps and opportunities when those guys are back to full strength, which they appear to be on the way to doing. So if you can upgrade from Juwan Johnson to Tyler Warren, and it takes Jaylen Warren to get it done, I would first see if you can get a depth running back in return and make it an even two for two swap. Again, it can be a dude who's a couple tiers below Jaylen Warren. You're just looking to make an even 2-for-2 swap, get a depth running back in return. Here's my good running back and my meh tight end. Give me your good tight end and a meh running back in return. Let's make this an even 2-for-2 swap and call it a day. I would counter with, who is their RB5? Can you pluck that player to complete the 2-for-2 swap? That's what I would want to do, if you can. And then Jose Imanor Shaheed, you made that a super. Thank you so much for the support. My answer of Shaheed remains. Would I start Slayton or Ladd? I'm sorry that you're 0-4. We're firing up Ladd. Just at this point, you've got nothing to lose. Play the dude that you committed to at the start of the season. And I know, Ladd he's been bad. Ladd's been bad. Bad McConkey. Sad McConkey. Whatever other rhyme you want to come up with. This is a great matchup. It is a good bounce back spot. If Ladd can't deliver against Washington, then I will take the L and tell everybody next week that I'm sorry that I believed in Ladd McConkey and told everybody to keep the faith. But this is a beautiful matchup against Washington. They're at home. He is, we're talking about starting Ladd at his lowest versus basically Slayton at his highest. This is when I don't want to lose hope. I want to give him one more week. I know last week was awful. I know generally this year has not been good. Give me Ladd in a great matchup. Still catching the ball from a great quarterback, great offense. There could be a need for Justin Herbert to get the ball out even quicker this week because Joe Alt is not going to play. So the offensive line play might be a little bit more fragile. That could mean more short and intermediate routes. Justin Herbert, 1, 2, 3, throw the damn ball. Get it out quick. The pass rush is coming. We don't have the offensive line that we don't have our starting tackles right now. Get that ball out as fast as you possibly can. Ladd, short and intermediate opportunities alongside Keenan Allen. If he doesn't do it this week, then fine. We can all put the nail in the coffin on Ladd McConkey, but I am playing him this week if it's the choice between him and Darius Slayton. I'll go back to the well for one more week. Achane, Mason, Gibbs, Breece, pick 3. Not Mason. Not Mason. Achane, Gibbs. Achane because he's a stud. Gibbs because he's a stud. Breece is a pretty good player. I don't know if he's a stud, but he's in a great matchup against the Dallas Cowboys. Mason is playing the Cleveland Browns. And while I do think Mason is startable for certain teams, depending on your options at running back, you clearly are loaded at running back. You have excellent options. Play your studs. Achane's a stud. Gibbs is a stud. Breece is a good player in a great matchup. That's who I'm firing up. Sit Mason against the Cleveland Browns. Okay, need to put a waiver claim in. Shakir. I'll list the other names out. Tolbert, Ridley, Turpin, Kirk, Mims, Boutte. Shakir. Attached to a great offense, attached to a great quarterback, a regular starter. I know Tolbert is now getting an expanded opportunity, and it's a good matchup, but Shakir is a regular starter for the Buffalo Bills. The team committed to him in the form of a contract extension this past offseason. He is a clear main focal point of their offense and what they want to do in the passing game. And again, for the millionth time, he's catching the ball from Josh Allen. Give me dudes, when all else fails, give me dudes in good offenses attached to good quarterbacks. Generally, good offenses and good quarterbacks go hand in hand. I want receiver. I will roll the dice on a quarter or on a player who is catching the ball from one of the best quarterbacks in the NFL. That's just kind of a blanket statement, and mindset that I like to carry when I'm looking at my options. Who are the guys that are available that are catching the ball from the better quarterbacks? Shakir. And Shakir had a good game last week. I think he's had a couple of good games in a row. He shouldn't be on waivers. Give me Shakir. And I see that you said standard scoring. Shakir obviously is a little bit more enticing in PPR leagues. In this instance, I don't care. He's the clear-cut best option of these names, regardless of the, no half or full PPR. Give me Khalil Shakir. Sunday Night Football, prime time against the New England Patriots. Give me Shakir. Let's see. I got the member questions. I think this is where I'm at. I don't think I missed anything or skipped anybody, but please let me know if I missed anything or if you didn't hear a question or an answer that I got or provided. Just let me know. You need to add one to start this week. Downs, Pierce, McCaffrey, Slayton, or Tolbert. Tolbert. Of this group, I'll take Tolbert. He is attached to Dak. It's a great matchup. No CeeDee Lamb. I know Slayton is obviously enticing as well. No Malik Neighbors. Downs is potentially enticing because Michael Pittman picked up a hamstring injury. Was limited in practice today. I'll take Tolbert. Because it's for Tolbert versus Slayton, it's twofold. One, I'll take the guy catching the ball from Dak over the guy catching the ball from Jackson Dart. I know Dart had a nice game last week and beat the Chargers, but he's still a rookie, and now he's going to play his first road game. And then on top of that, the Cowboys' defense is awful. They are giving up points to everybody. Dallas's offense can never take their foot off the gas until that clock hits 0. That is a boost for their offensive skill position guys on a week-to-week basis. So, just by that logic, I got to go Tolbert from this group. I think he had 7 for 60 last week. So, yeah, in full PPR, you'll take 13 points from Jalen Tolbert. Give me Tolbert. Of that group, give me Tolbert. Slayton is second, but there's other intangibles in Tolbert's favor, in my opinion. How do I feel about Stafford as a streamer tonight? Okay. Not great, but okay. Obviously, he throws the ball to the best wide receiver tandem in the league right now. With all due respect to Jamar Chase and T. Higgins, and obviously no Joe Burrow, is hurting things for them. But right now, Puka and Devontae Adams are playing at such a high level, so that elevates Stafford. The 49ers defense is banged up. They are not what they were without Nick Bosa. They just got smoked at home by the Jacksonville Jaguars. So, Stafford's in a decent spot. Maybe not a spectacular spot, but a decent spot. I don't think he's going to go for 375 and 3 touchdowns again necessarily, but he's on he's absolutely on the streaming radar. If you had Lamar Jackson, or you got a guy on bye this week, Caleb Williams, Jordan Love, Michael Penix. Who's the other team? Aaron Rodgers. Probably not. If you had Jordan Love or Caleb Williams, or if you had Lamar Jackson and you're hurting at quarterback and you're looking for options, Stafford's fine. Low end QB1. I'm not pounding the table for him, but it's a decent enough situation. Low end QB1. Guess the record? Oh, no. This could be good or not. I don't know. Kyler and Caleb. Kyler's been meh. Caleb's been solid for fantasy. Kyler's been meh. Chase Brown's been not good. Swift has been meh. Dobbins has been good. Pollard's been okay. Harvey was probably on your bench last week because he hadn't done anything until last week. Benson's hurt. London's been up and down. CeeDee's hurt. Nico's been okay, but up and down. Pearsall's been okay, but also up and down because of injury. Sutton's been mostly good. And then Jawan, he's been a tight end 1 through the start of the season, but last week wasn't great. Tyler Loop's been okay. I don't know. Are you 1-3? I would hope you're at least 2-2. These are all really good names. You know, it's easy to look at this team and think to yourself, I put a good squad together. But obviously, you know, some down performances so far, and obviously there's a lot of injuries in there. Chase Brown not injured, but Joe Burrow is. Benson hurt. CD hurt. Pearsall hurt. Swift's been on the injury report, even though he's played. Yeah, it's tough. I hope I hope it's like, psych, I'm 4-0. I'm awesome. I'm the man. But you know, Kyler's been tough to trust, unless it's a super flex team, and then in which case Kyler and Caleb, it's not an awful tandem, especially because of Caleb. It's a good team. It's a good team. It's just gotten hit by the injury bug a little bit. Do you start Juwan or Mark Andrews? Juwan. And I know I've been kind of meh on him. I've been talking kind of meh on him today, but yeah, I mean, no Lamar Jackson. It's going to be Cooper Rush at quarterback. Isaiah Likely is back. You know, for the Saints, Foster Moreau and Taysom Hill, they're also back, but they may not play this week. When I say they're back, their practice windows have been opened. I don't know that they're going to be available this week. So Juwan should have the majority, if not all, of the snaps and opportunities for at least one more week at home. So I'll take Juwan over Mark Andrews. The one argument for Mark Andrews would be, you know, Cooper Rush, backup quarterback. Backup quarterbacks tend to take easy checkdowns and whatnot, and that would be the tight end. But that could also be Isaiah Likely since he's back healthy. So I'll say Juwan Johnson over Mark Andrews. Yeah. Oh, crap. Bobby, I'm sorry. I missed this. Drop Harvey for Evans. No. You know, this league would give me a heart attack. No, I mean, Harvey looks like he's emerging. I want you to pick up Evans, and I think you maybe did, or maybe you're looking at real closely at doing it. But he is hurt right now. We don't know how much longer he's going to miss, and we don't know what he's going to be when he comes back. Harvey looks like he's ascending. I don't want to drop RJ Harvey. No. I don't want to drop RJ Harvey. If anything, this would be a rare instance where I say just drop Emmanuel Wilson and roll the dice on not having Jacobs handcuff. Yeah. And then I see there were some comments in the chat about, like, you know, if you see... You know, I always encourage, if you see a question and you feel like you have an opinion about it and you want to help somebody out, by absolutely do that. We're here to help each other. That's what it's all about. Need 2 flex players. Running backs get 1 point every 5 yards, not 10 yards. So running backs get a boost here. Charbonnet, Davis, Corum, Tucker, Slayton, Tolbert, McCaffrey, Hollywood, or Alec Pierce. So I would say Charbonnet for sure because of that 1 point every 5 yards. And while Charbonnet is in a timeshare with Kenneth Walker, he is a good player, and I think the best and safest option of this group at home. 10 days off. Remember, Seattle played the Week 4 Thursday night game, so 10 days off at home. Getting a banged-up Buccaneers team. I'll take Zach Charbonnet from this group. And then... in full PPR, I think for me it comes down to Hollywood versus or Tolbert, because I did already say Tolbert over Slayton, so I'm going to stick to those guns. It would come down to Tolbert versus, I guess, Marquise Brown for me. Marquise Brown is on the road against Jacksonville, decent matchup. Tolbert is also on the road, I believe, against the New York Jets. Tolbert's catching the ball from Dak. Hollywood from Mahomes. So there's not a for fantasy purposes, there's not a significant difference there as far as the quarterback play. I'll say Tolbert again. I'll say Tolbert over Hollywood because, Hollywood's interesting, but Xavier Worthy returned last week. Obviously, Travis Kelce's still there doing his thing. Tyquan Thornton is involved. Hollywood did okay last week and has been a pretty solid contributor, but I think there's a clearer path to the opportunity for Tolbert than there is for Hollywood, especially with Xavier Worthy having returned last week. I'll take Tolbert. I'll take Charbonnet, and I'll take Tolbert. I like Slayton now without Malik Neighbors, but I want to give it a week before I start him over somebody like Tolbert, who catches the ball from Dak and is attached to a bad defense, which means the offense needs to keep scoring points. Yeah. Need a wide receiver. And yes, again, just to follow up, we need more injured reserve spots. If you think you have enough, you may not have enough. Kupp, Mims, Travis Hunter, or Demarcus Robinson. Oh, man. Kupp is tough to trust. Well, I mean, to be fair, all of these guys are tough to trust. You're pretty much taking a dart throw. I would say Kupp is I don't even know if Kupp's a floor play. It's not an ideal scenario here. For Cooper Kupp. I'm just taking under 35 yards in 3 of his 4 games. So he's pretty tough to trust right now. Robinson, Travis Hunter, Marvin Mims. I like Mims, but he's such a dart throw. And then Travis Hunter, his usage has been ridiculously frustrating. Snap counts and percentages on offense, not where we thought they would be, at least not yet. I'll say Kupp for a floor. Mims, if you think you need to be aggressive and you need to take a shot for a big play, then it's Marvin Mims. I don't want to play Demarcus Robinson tonight. He could do something, but it could be him. It could be MVS. It could be Kendrick Bourne. It could be none of them. Like, I have a hard time vouching for any of the 49ers receivers that are going tonight. I will say Kupp is like a boring floor play, and the floor is low. Mims' floor is even lower, but his ceiling is higher. So if you need to be aggressive, then I would say Mims. I'll say Mims. Flex, Chase Brown or Keenan Allen in half PPR. This one feels a little bit more straightforward to me. This is how far Chase Brown has fallen, and that's not I don't mean to, Keenan Allen's been playing great, but you would never expect that you would be starting somebody like Keenan Allen over somebody like Chase Brown. I would start Keenan Allen. I mean, it's a bad matchup for Chase Brown against the Detroit Lions. The Bengals offense looks horrendous right now. Zach Taylor looks in over his head. It's just like, every week we get a reminder of like how much Joe Burrow carries that franchise. I don't think the head coach knows what he's doing. The offensive line is in shambles, and everybody is getting negatively impacted by it. Jamar Chase, T. Higgins, Chase Brown, they're all getting hit by it. Certain situations you have to play Chase Brown. This isn't one of them. I would play Keenan Allen, who is off to a good start, is regularly contributing every week, is catching the ball from a good quarterback, and it's a great matchup. Keenan Allen. Yeah, I don't... some instances, I'm going to say Chase Brown. I suggested Chase Brown on a question earlier where the other options were just like they were a little tougher to trust. Keenan Allen's not in that camp. You can trust Keenan Allen. So I'm playing Keenan Allen over Chase Brown. Yeah. Like, Chase Brown will get the volume, and maybe that correlates into a floor play, but it's been really difficult to trust anybody on the Bengals offense the past couple of weeks. Would I start DeMercado over Chase Brown? No. Because, again, and I think that was the question that I got earlier, Chase Brown versus, like, Michael Carter, I think was the question. I cannot advocate for any of the Cardinals running backs right now over Chase Brown. I can't. And I know that Chase Brown it feels like pulling teeth right now, and there's almost no reason to believe in him. But at least we know he's going to be out there for most of the snaps and opportunities. We don't know that about any of the Cardinals running backs yet. We think DeMercado is going to be the pass-catching option. We expect that he may lead this backfield in snaps. But if the Cardinals have a lead in the second half, then maybe we don't see that much of DeMercado. Maybe we see more Michael Carter. Maybe we see Bam Knight. Who the hell knows? And then did they sign somebody else? I don't even know. Did they bring anybody else in yet, Arizona? It doesn't matter. I got to play Chase Brown if my option is Chase Brown or one of the Cardinals running backs. We just don't know what this backfield split is going to look like yet. We just don't know. What's going on, Crumply Heads? Good to see you, dude. Thanks for popping in. JMO or Wandale? And I see these other couple questions right ahead, but just to get, again, members get priority. That is a perk of being a member of the channel. JMO gets the Cincinnati Bengals. Wandale against the New Orleans Saints. I will say, JMO did not really do anything last week, but if you go back and watch the game, and I'll credit the fantasy footballers for calling this out, he was wide open, like, on every freaking play. He was dusting people. They just couldn't get him the ball. Like, they just quite couldn't connect. I think Goff had a couple of overthrows to him. This was in their game last week against Cleveland. He was absolutely cooking them. It just didn't show up in the box score because he had a bunch of, like, unrecognized air yards. That's Ian Harditz's favorite thing on Twitter, if you're still on Twitter. He was getting overthrown. He was wide open. He didn't do anything with it. Not 100% his fault. JMO's still a beast. Wandale, obviously much more PPR appeal. No more Malik Neighbors, unfortunately. But it's a good matchup against the Saints. Probably still not expecting his depth of target to go up that much. But you figure his target share is only going to go up. I'll say, Crumbly Heads, if it's a PPR league, if you feel good about the rest of your lineup, if you feel strongly about the rest of your options, and you're just looking for a floor play in PPR, then Wandale. Any other scenario, and I would still play Jameson Williams. He's the better player. He's the superior talent. He is way more likely, infinitely more likely to make a big play than Wandale Robinson. Because he's the team's deep threat, but he's so much more than that. JMO. Unless your roster is loaded and it's a PPR league and you're just like, I just need this last roster spot to get me 8 to 10 PPR points. Wandale can do that. JMO might get you 4 points, but he might get you 24 points too. So my inclination is to say, go JMO, roll the dice on the opportunity for the big play. And we'll keep keep Wandale in mind for future weeks. I would play JMO outside of a very specific scenario where you just need 10 PPR points from a second or third flex spot. Let's see. Would I start White even if Bucky goes or DeMercado? I would probably still play Rachaad White even if Bucky goes. Because here's the thing. If Bucky plays, what does that look like? He's in a walking boot on crutches right now. If by some miracle he sheds the walking boot tomorrow, he gets in a limited practice, and he ends up playing on Sunday, how much of the game is he going to play? Is he going to see his typical allotment of snaps and opportunities? I would have my doubts. We already are unsure how much DeMercado is going to play versus Michael Carter versus Bam Knight versus whatever else they choose to do in that backfield. Kyler running the ball. Rachaad White, even if Bucky suits up, I would say probably will be the lead back because he's the healthy one. Like, even if Bucky miraculously goes, I would expect he's in a change of pace role to mitigate risk. So I would play Rachaad White because I'm already assuming Bucky's not going to play. Crutches, walking boot, etc. That is a recipe for I'm not playing this week. But if he miraculously does, do we automatically expect him to be the bell cow? I can't imagine. So I'll play Rachaad White over DeMercado. And yes, that is even if Bucky suits up, which at this point, it's not looking good. Do I think Blake Corum is a good play this evening? Yeah, I mean, it depends on who your other options are, but it is a good reminder. Backup running backs tend to play more on Thursday Night Football because it's a short week. It's not always the case. I don't expect Brian Robinson to get significantly more run tonight because it's Christian freaking McCaffrey we're talking about. But McCaffrey's one of one. Yeah, Blake Corum should mix in tonight a decent amount. And I don't know how much or how many of you pay attention to the spreads, but the Rams are now 8.5-point favorites. And for anybody who's unfamiliar with what that means, it's that Vegas expects the Rams to win the game, and they're basically 8.5-point favorites. If you're betting this game as far as who you think is going to win or who's going to cover, et cetera, the 49ers are almost 9-point underdogs. Which, in the simplest of terms, I'm not the best talking about this betting stuff, but in the simplest of terms, the Rams are the favorites and are expected to basically have a double-digit lead in this game at some point. When you have a double-digit lead in a game, you're going to lead on your run game. And on a Thursday night, Kyren Williams is probably not going to do it alone. So I don't know who your other options are, but yes, Blake Corum does have some appeal just based on the fact that it's a Thursday night football game and backup running backs tend to mix in a little bit more. So a good play, I don't know about a good play, but like a sneaky flex option, sure. That being said, as always, do not play your Thursday night football players in the flex. Even if you have Blake Corum and you want to play Blake Corum, put him in a running back spot. Put all of your Thursday night football players in their positional spots. Leave that flex spot open for Sunday and Monday. Maximize your flexibility. That's the literal point of the flex. Do not leave players in the flex spot for Thursday night football. Save that spot for a player going Sunday. Judkins or Hampton rest of the season. And yes, the matchup is good for Corum as well. The 49ers are heavily banged up. But again, it depends on who your other options are. Rest of season, I mean, I got to go Hampton. Better offense. Better quarterback. That's all it comes down to. I like Judkins. He looks great. He looks like he's going to be really good. and he looks like he's going to be a regular main contributor all season long. But if we just have to take two players and I can only pick one, I'm going to take the dude who is, one, has the draft capital, first-round pick versus second-round pick. I know the gap isn't so significant because Judkins was a very high second-round pick, but still, first-round pick versus second-round pick. And the LA Chargers have a much better offense than the Cleveland Browns. They're more likely to sustain drives game over game, week over week, over the course of the season. Therefore, that increases the scoring opportunities. And, obviously Judkins is significantly more talented than Jerome Ford and Dylan Sampson, but they are healthy. Hampton pretty much has just Hassan Haskins behind him at this point and Kimani Vidal because Najee Harris is out for the season with the Achilles injury. It's Hampton. It's Hampton. And it's close, but at the same time, it's clear for me. Give me the guy with the better pedigree, the better draft the better draft capital and the better offense. Hampton has both of those. And I like Judkins. But if I have to pick one, give me Hampton. How do I feel about Tongas playing tonight? Tight end 15 on the week. Not super strong. Is the opportunity there? Yeah. Could it be another random tight end on the roster that gets the score? Also, yeah. And that's if they score, of course. Tight end 15. I'd rather have Jawan Johnson. I'd rather have Zach Ertz. I'd rather play Brenton Strange. I'd rather play Hunter Henry. I'd rather play Dalton Kincaid. Hell, I might rather stream Mason Taylor. Short week on the road, backup quarterback, so many injuries. I know that means, he's going to have an opportunity. It's just, I don't have a strong feeling about Tongas. I think that's how I say his name, or how you're supposed to say his name. Feel free to correct me if I'm wrong. Now, if your options are TJ Hawkinson, who has been awful, or Mark Andrews, and you're worried about Cooper Rush and Isaiah Likely, or maybe you have David Njoku or Harold Fannin, or you're looking at Darren Waller, okay, fine. You could play the 49ers tight end. But I'd rather play Jawan. I'd rather play Brenton Strange. I'd rather play Hunter Henry. I'd rather play Zach Ertz. I'd rather play Dalton Kincaid. Stroud worth starting this weekend? I don't think so. And I get it. The matchup is really good. But Stroud has not been good for fantasy for a long time. His finishes this year, and the scoring obviously maybe changes this a little bit, but last week was his best performance of the season. He was the QB 15, so he still was a QB 2 in his best performance of the year, which was last year. His other performances were the QB 26, the QB 23, and the QB 25. He's just not getting it done. And at this point, I can't look at a good matchup and think to myself, yeah, CJ Stroud. I can't do it. I know the Ravens are banged up. I know that their defense, even when healthy right now, is just straight up not good. But Stroud isn't good right now either. I can't pull the trigger on that. I can't pull the trigger on Stroud. I'd rather play Dak Prescott. I'd rather play Drake May. I'd rather play Jared Goff. I'd rather play Stafford tonight. I'd rather play Daniel Jones. I might rather play Jackson Dart. He ran a good amount last week. and he's got a pretty good matchup this week against New Orleans. I'd probably rather play Jackson Dart than C.J. Stroud. I might prefer Bryce Young to C.J. Stroud. Bryce Young is also hasn't been great, but at least he's at home, and it's also a good matchup against Miami. I'll take the guy at home versus the guy on the road. I don't trust C.J. Stroud right now. I just don't. Flex 1, Shaheed, Mason, Dowdle, Travion Henderson, Waller, and you get a tight end premium bonus. So you don't have to make a decision. None of these guys are playing tonight, right? So you don't have to make a decision tonight. You can wait until, obviously there's a London game this week, so Jordan Mason goes early. So you have to know, you got to know injury. We need some injury updates prior to that game kicking off to get a definitive answer here. That being said, if Chuba Hubbard does not play this week and he hasn't practiced yesterday or today, then I would probably go Rico Dowdle against the Miami Dolphins, because that's a beautiful matchup and Rico would have the backfield to himself. If Chuba plays, then I would probably roll the dice on Henderson, because the Bills are giving up a lot of production to opposing running backs so far this year. They're giving up a lot of production to opposing running backs. Is it full PPR for just tight ends? Is it half PPR for wide receivers and running backs? I should have asked that previously. If it's standard scoring, then either Dowdle or Henderson. But if it's at least half PPR, then there's a little bit more of an argument for Shaheed. I looked at PPR for the tight ends and immediately assumed just tight end premium. If it's half PPR, then maybe Shaheed. If it's just standard scoring and the tight ends are the only ones that get the PPR, then I would say Dowdle if Chuba's out and Henderson if Chuba is in. Yeah. Half PPR, Shaheed, standard scoring, Dowdle if Chuba's out, Henderson if Chuba's active. It's a PPR league. Okay, then actually I might just say go Shaheed outright. Go Shaheed outright at home. The Giants have a solid defense, but again, at home, in the dome, I trust Shaheed. He's a damn good player. He's got big play upside, even with Spencer Rattler as his quarterback. Okay, so it's like a catch for a tight end is 2 points. That's a true tight end premium scoring, which I like. But that doesn't make me like Darren Waller enough. I know Darren Waller balled out on Monday night. I don't want to chase 2 touchdowns from a recently retired tight end. And I'm not trying to slight Darren Waller. He had a great game, but he's still only I would only rank him as the tight end 16 or 17 right now. Maybe the tight end 15. There's still 10 to 12 guys that I would somewhat confidently, for at least another week, play at tight end over Waller, even in tight end premium. I'll take Shaheed in full PPR. The full PPR tips the scales for me. Yeah. Tips the scales for me in favor of the wide receiver. Will Brashard Smith takes over? It looks like he certainly could. I mean, they were talking about him getting more work. Isaiah Pacheco is pretty blah. Kareem Hunt is at the end of his career at this point. I don't know that this, it might just be a gross three-headed monster, but that would still be a win for Brashard Smith as far as expectations this year, forcing a committee with two veterans. It certainly seems like he has a chance to have an increased opportunity, an increased role here moving forward. We generally see rookies take over or expand their roles mid-season. So we're not there yet. We're still at the beginning of the year, even though it feels like it's moving really quickly, which football season always does. It moves in the blink of an eye. Mid-season is typically when we see the day 2 and day 3 running backs have their roles increase. So probably need to be patient for another couple of weeks. But yeah, I don't see why Brashard Smith doesn't get more run. Pacheco's just a guy, and Kareem Hunt he's old at this point. So yeah, I see no reason why he shouldn't take, at least get more snaps and opportunities. He's on the radar. Keep Brashard Smith on your watch list for sure. Need to pick up a wide receiver from waivers. Iamanor. Calvin Ridley's not going to play this week, or at least that's what it looks like. He didn't practice yesterday. He played like half the snaps last week, right? He played half the snaps last week, Ridley did. Now he's got both knee and elbow issues, I think. He's dealing with 2 injuries. Didn't practice yesterday, not practicing today. He would need to get a limited session in tomorrow for us to feel even a little better about him. And even if he does play, Iamanor earned a 27% target share last week. It might be gross. Don't watch the game. The Titans' offense is dreck right now, but Iamanor should get 8 or 9 targets, maybe even 10 targets. I'll take Iamanor. Trey Tucker's hot and cold. Troy Franklin's hot and cold as well. Obviously, Iamanor is a 4th-round rookie and still has a long way to go as far as proving himself to be a consistent player. But he's got a great opportunity to lead the team in targets this week, especially if Calvin Ridley can't go. I would play Iamanor or pick up Iamanor. I don't know if you need to play him, but as a stash at the very least, give me Iamanor. Guy looks good. He looks good. What's going on, E111? Good to see you. Browning, Geno, or Darnold? Wow. Not Browning. He looks horrendous, and he's playing the Detroit Lions. So no, thank you. And it is a home game for Cincinnati. Still, I don't care. That doesn't matter for me right now. Browning looks awful. Honestly, Geno doesn't. Geno doesn't look much better. What does he have? Like 7 interceptions on the season already? At least with Darnold. Darnold's been playing well. Darnold's been playing good football. Like, give him credit. I mentioned it earlier. I thought Darnold would crumble and turn back into a pumpkin after he left Kevin O'Connell and left Minnesota. But maybe Darnold's just a solid quarterback, like a solid NFL quarterback. And at this point, he deserves his flowers. He's at home. He's got 10 days off or 10 days rest because they played the Thursday night game last week. He gets to throw the ball Jackson Smith and Jigba. That's pretty cool. I would play Darnold of this group. He's been the best of them. He's been the best of these 3. Browning stinks. Geno's been disappointing. I would play Darnold. Yeah, I would play Darnold. All right, we are at the end of the chat. Game kicks off in about 20 minutes. I can hang out here a bit longer. Just an FYI, in case you missed my stream on Tuesday, or maybe you're not a member of my Discord, but this will be my final stream for a couple of weeks. I'm going on a family vacation, so all is well, all is fine, no issues. Good news, actually. Going on a family vacation for a couple of weeks, so this will be my final stream until I think week 7. So I will be back for week 7. So I will not have start sit streams this week. I will be available in Discord. For anybody who has any questions, if you're not a member of my Discord and you would like to become a member of the Discord, it is a free evergreen invite. Second link in the description of this live stream and all videos and streams on the channel. You can join there and ask start sit questions there. You can ask them to me. You can crowdsource the community. I obviously encourage anybody to help anybody out. If you've got, if you have a question or if you see a question and you have a specific thought about it, feel free to help each other out. That's what we're here for. But this will be my final stream for a couple of weeks. I'll be back in just a couple of weeks, and then you guys got me for the rest of the season. But I will be, I'll be off the streams for a couple of weeks, and I will be out of the country enjoying a vacation with the family. So, hit me in Discord if you need anything over these next couple of weeks. You can always leave a question in the form of a comment on any video or stream on the channel. I will get to it as soon as I can. I'm happy to still try to make myself available for you guys. As I can. I'll keep an eye on Discord. I'll still get the notifications. I'll keep an eye on that. I'll keep an eye on YouTube. If you guys leave a message on YouTube, or if you leave a message in Discord, I will keep an eye out. So just as an FYI, I will be I'll be around. I'll be around, but I will be on vacation with the family, so I will not have any streams for the next couple of weeks, but I will be back ahead of week 7. So, week 5, week 6, hit me in Discord, hit me on YouTube in the form of a comment on any video or live stream, and I will answer it as soon as I can, and then I will see you guys for live streams starting up again in week 7. Just wanted to make sure I shared that for another, for a second time or third. I don't know how many times I've shared it. But I'll be here for the rest of the season after that. Fear not. I'll be available after a couple of weeks. But I just wanted to make sure you guys were aware. Hey, We Are Family. What's going on? I was just letting everybody know that I'm going to be out. I'm going to be out of the country. Everything's all good. Everything's fine. But I'll be on a vacation with family for a couple of weeks. So I will be off the mic for a little while, but I am happy to still make myself available again in Discord, or again, leave any questions somewhere on the YouTube channel and I'll make sure to get to it. We still have like 10 or 15 more minutes before the game, so I'm happy to still take a couple of more questions. Got a little bit more time here before this game kicks off. What are my thoughts on Alec Pierce? Could see an expanded opportunity if there's anything going on with Michael Pittman. Again, Pittman was added to the injury report today by the Indianapolis Colts. Limited participant in practice with a hamstring injury. Limited is good. Hamstring is not good. So, obviously he's a little volatile. He's an up and down guy. He's a dart throw. But, Daniel Jones is playing well. He was only okay this past week against the Rams, but on the season so far, he's been pretty good. Pittman's on the injury report. So there's a potential expanded opportunity there. He's already playing in 2 receiver sets regularly over Josh Downs, which is crazy. But they clearly like him in that role. It's a wide receiver 4 or 5, Deep dart throw, deep stash. maybe an expanded opportunity if something's going on with Pittman, but nothing more. All right. Brian Thomas Jr. or Marv? Ugh. I mean, at least Marv's got a good matchup against the Titans, I guess. You know, the problem with Brian Thomas is the matchup's not great. He's been inconsistent. I mean, Marv's been inconsistent as well. Neither one of these guys is like. I don't have a strong conviction with either one of these guys, but Marv did get the touchdown last week. Let me check Brian Thomas really quick. Five for 49. He's been under 50 yards receiving in every game so far this year, or every game but one. The one game he cleared 50 yards receiving, he had 55 yards receiving. Blech. Not great. Marv against Tennessee. It's not a bad matchup. It's not ideal. You would have expected, we all expected so much more from Brian Thomas. That's been the bigger disappointment. So I guess just on that, I'll say Marvin Harrison, who himself has issues, but at least he made a spectacular catch for a touchdown. Yeah. Pick up Darnold. Yeah, that's Pierce is the guy. Yeah, you can get rid of Pierce to pick up Darnold. That's fine. If that's who you really need at quarterback and that's the best option available to you, yeah, Alec Pierce is droppable. He's not a must-hold. Yeah. Hey, I mean, look. I can't always control how I spend my time. If you don't want to be a member anymore, I'm not going to hold your feet to the fire. But I appreciate the support. I appreciate people coming in and hanging out. If you wanna cancel, you can cancel. Start the Rams D tonight or stick with the Browns versus the Vikings. You could go either way, and I don't mean to give a cop-out answer, but either one is fine. Obviously the Rams on a short week tonight at home against a banged-up offense is solid. That's a good spot. Cleveland going up against Carson Wentz and a banged-up offensive line for Minnesota, also a very good spot. Of course, it's not a home game. It's a neutral London game, so they don't have the benefit of not traveling for a home game because they got to go to London. So that's a little bit of a downer, but it's still a great defense in a great matchup. Carson Wentz is ripe for the picking for sacks and turnovers. Their offensive line is in rough shape right now. You could go either way, really. I mean, I guess maybe Cleveland, because it's not a division game. Division game's obviously a little bit more dicey. Either one should be fine. I guess I'll slightly nod the Cleveland Browns. Give a slight nod to the Cleveland Browns. Their front seven is nasty. Their whole defense is nasty. The whole defense is really good. I guess I'll say Cleveland. And if you already have them, that's the other, like, I guess that's the other thing. Because you said stick with the Browns. If you already have them, just keep them. There's no need to drop them. This is a great spot for them. This is a great spot for them. Okay. Stick around for a couple more minutes if anybody else needs anything. But we are coming up on the start of the game. So obviously I know everybody wants to go watch. But I can hang for a little bit longer, just in case. Okonkwo or Waller to one to drop. I mean, I guess Okonkwo. I mean, both are in a. Waller is in a season-long situation where he could see an uptick in opportunities with no Tyreek Hill. I don't think. I mean, Calvin Ridley's absence right now is not a season-ending absence. It could be a week or two, but it's not season-ending. At least what we know right now. So I guess just based on that, I'll say keep Waller, drop Okonkwo, and then it also comes down to, while it's not great, I guess I'll take Tua over Cam Ward right now. As far as which quarterback I would prefer to have, as far, like who's throwing my tight end the ball. If I have to pick between Tua and Cam Ward, it's not great, it's not ideal, but I'll take Tua. So I'll keep Waller again. Permanent expanded opportunity without Tyreek Hill. Okonkwo might have a short-term boost if Calvin Ridley misses a game or two, but not anything more than that in all likelihood. So I'll say keep Waller. I'll say keep Waller. Keep Waller, drop a Okonkwo. Okay. We're at the end of the chat. We got about 5 minutes left to kick off, and I do not see any other questions. So I think we're all good. Let me know if there's anything else in these last couple of minutes, but I appreciate everybody coming in and hanging out, taking the time today. Special shout out to all the members. Thank you for all the supers. Kevin, Tyler sent a bunch. Thank you, Mike, for joining as a member, and Jose as well, sending a super. Appreciate you guys. And all the members that I saw, everybody coming in and hanging out today before kickoff. Everybody enjoy the game. Let me know if you need anything this weekend. I am available in Discord. I am available on YouTube. Just leave a comment if you have any questions. I'm happy to take them. And then I will be around again in week 7, and then onward. For the rest of the season after that. Just checking to make sure there's no last minute updates here. Wow. Okay. Brock Bowers did not practice today. I don't know if anybody saw that. Brock Bowers did not practice today. That's a new update. Brock Purdy suffered a setback in week 4 and could miss additional games. Kittle, Jawan Jennings, Ricky Pearsall could all return next week, but Brandon Ayuk remains, quote-unquote, weeks away from returning. Great. All right. So, Brock Bowers not practicing on Thursday. This is absolutely brutal. Okay. Get a backup plan ready if you have Brock Bowers. You know, whatever your backup option is for Brock Purdy, make sure to hang on to it after this week because he could miss additional weeks. Brandon Ayuk remains weeks away. Not the injury updates that I was hoping to see, especially Bowers. But what are you going to do? All right. Start Woody, DeMercado, or Slayton. Woody. Let's just play Woody Marks. We don't know what the Cardinals' backfield is going to look like just yet. We don't know. We don't know what DeMercado's role is going to be. We don't know what Michael Carter's role is going to be. Well, we think we know what their roles are going to be. We think DeMercado will be the pass-catching option. We think Michael Carter will get 10 to 12 carries. We think maybe Bam Knight mixes in a little bit. The point is we haven't seen this backfield yet in this current form. We don't know how it's gonna shake out. It could be a matchup-based situation. This could be a week where the Cardinals don't throw the ball a ton to the running backs because they have a lead against a bad Titans team. And that's if they have a lead, of course. Impossible to guess right now, currently, what the Cardinals' backfield is gonna look like. So I'm not super crazy about that. And then Slayton, obviously an expanded opportunity with no Malik Neighbors, but he is a bit of a dart throw. Did Dart clear 150 passing yards last week? It was a tough matchup against the Chargers. This is an easier matchup against the Saints, but it is on the road, so there's no guarantees there. Woody Marks looks like the guy who's going to handle more work. His role is increasing for Houston, and it's a good matchup against Baltimore. I don't trust C.J. Stroud, but I think that he's good enough to turn around and hand the ball off to Woody Marks in a matchup against Baltimore where they're getting killed on defense. So I'll take Woody Marks. I'll take Woody from this group. And then Mason or DeMercado, yeah, same. I mean, again, we just don't know what this Cardinals backfield is, how it's going to shake out, and what the roles are going to be. We think DeMercado's the pass-catching back. How many opportunities is he going to get to catch the ball this week if the Cardinals have a lead? Are they going to give him 10 carries with a lead? Or is Michael Carter going to get those opportunities? We just don't know yet. We at least know that Mason is going to be the starting running back for the Minnesota Vikings. And it's not a great matchup against the Cleveland Browns, but we know that Mason will be 1A. Xavier Scott got in there a good amount last week on pass-catching downs, pass-catching opportunities. This should be a closer game. Cleveland's starting Dillon Gabriel in his first career game. This should be a more neutral matchup. I would think Mason gets more opportunities this week than he did last week. I don't think he's going to come off the field as much as he did last week, if game script is any indication. So I'll say Mason. He's hard to trust in this matchup, but at least I know his role. His role is the starter, at least the 1A for Minnesota. DeMercado, we just don't know yet. We just don't know yet. All right. We are at kickoff, everybody. It is time for Rams 49ers. So, with that, I think I'm going to wrap it up now. But again, appreciate everybody coming in and hanging out today. Thank you guys for the time. Thank you guys for the patience working through questions, and appreciate all the support, members and supers. Thank you so much. Enjoy the game. Enjoy the weekend. You guys will be hearing from me. I will be around. I'll be here to answer questions. Discord, YouTube, whatever have you. And I will be available again starting in week 7. Small hiatus, family vacation. I know it's during the season. That's just how the cookie crumbles sometimes. So I won't have streams this weekend. I won't have streams week 6, but I will come back week 7, and then I will be available for the rest of the season after that. So you guys will get me again starting on the 18th or 19th. So, yeah, bit of a hiatus, but you can hit me with questions in the form of a comment on any YouTube videos or live streams on the channel. You can join me in Discord, second link in the description of this live stream, and all videos and streams on the channel. I can answer questions over there as well, just as easily as I answer them here. But yeah, stream schedule is generally Tuesday, Thursday, Saturday, Sunday. I will be back on that full cadence starting week 7. All right. That does it for me. Appreciate everybody. Thank you guys for hanging out. Best of luck. Let me know if you need anything. And I will see you guys on the other side. Thanks, everybody.